2014, and I'm Clerk Kornecki. I will call the roll. Trustee Davis.
Here.
Trustee Aiello.
Here.
Trustee Bulfus.
Here.
Trustee Taglia.
Here.
Trustee Case.
Here.
Trustee Wagner. President Bullwinkle. In President Bullwinkle's absence tonight, we will need a President Pro Tem, and I need to have a motion from the
Motion to
trustees.
have Al act as our President Pro Tem.
Okay, Trustee Aiello has a motion for Trustee Bulfus to take over tonight. Is there a second?
Madam Clerk.
Okay, Trustee Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes? Okay, thank you. Trustee Bulfus.
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta get my water bottle.
Oh, yeah. Here you go, Al.
Now you have to ask the attorney a question. Yes. We have a lady in the audience who's running for state rep against the Democratic Party person. She wants to talk to us. Do I want her to talk or not?
Do we have a policy on that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, then she has the right to talk. I mean, preferences that be not used for the
Right,
position.
that's what I feel.
And if you choose your position, you're the chair.
Thanks a lot. She could talk during public comments or do I let her talk first?
You can have to wait till the end of the agenda when we get the general comments, but then ask her not to talk.
Then I'll do it now. Let's ask her not to talk.
Okay? I mean, fair, general, then we think.
Okay. We already did the roll.
Pledge.
We have to do the pledge, okay. That's where we're at, I lost her. I'll stand for the pledge, and Trustee Taglia, would you lead us, please? Sir. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, we can do a prayer too, huh? Trustee Taglia, please.
Certainly. Our Heavenly Father, will thou be pleased to grant that this meeting thus be done in order, be conducted in peace, and closed in harmony. Amen.
First off, before we get started, we have a guest here today, Heidi Holland. She's running for state rep. She wanted to address the board for a moment, and we'd like to give you that opportunity. And generally, though, we try to avoid political statements, so if you would be so kind.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time tonight, Board. I will be very brief. I simply wanted to introduce myself. My name is Heidi Holland. I am a candidate for state representative, and I want to make myself available to any of you. I will leave my contact information here to discuss any concerns you have about the state and your village and the residents. I have been walking the district, speaking to people, getting to know you. I've also looked forward to many of the events you have planned for this summer. I love the town mascot. I've met him a couple times, but I just briefly wanted to say hello, and that's all I really wanted to do, and start meeting you and hearing the concerns. So thank you very much for your time tonight. I look forward to getting to know you better.
Do you have a contact number or anything?
Yes. The contact number is 630-474-4989.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move on to the committee of a whole then. Item number 3, any amendments to the agenda? Well, I have one. Item number 7, consider a resolution approving amended purchasing policy and procedures for the Village of Villa Park. I didn't receive any information on that item. So I don't know if anybody else did or if I'm the only one. And what exactly the amendments are, I'm not aware of, so I'd like to, can I make a motion, seeing I'm not the president?
You are the chair. I would ask that the motion be made from the board.
Okay.
President Pro Tem,
Yes,
I'd like to make your motion for you.
thank you, Trustee Davis. Do I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Gallo.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? No comments on that.
No.
So we actually go.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Yes, trustee Aiello,
Yes.
trustee Bullfus,
Yes.
trustee Taglia,
Yes.
trustee Case,
Yes.
trustee Wagner.
Just a point of information, this is to table this motion, to table this item.
It'll be taken off of the agenda tonight.
Taken off the
It can-
agenda.
It can come
Okay.
back.
Yes, to take it off the agenda.
Yes.
And trustee Davis.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, item number 4, consider an ordinance amending the annual budget of the Village of Villa Park for the fiscal year commencing May 1st, 2013, and ending April 30th, 2014, amendment number 2. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. To better track expenses and revenues during the course of the current fiscal year, staff is introducing proposed budget amendments on a periodic basis rather than annually. Budget amendment number 2 proposes changes in the corporate, capital projects, equipment replacement, land and building, building improvement, water supply, and wastewater funds. Included in this amendment is the budget amendment that the Villa Park Library Board of Trustees adopted on February 26, 2014. A 2/3 vote of the corporate authorities is required to approve an ordinance for the proposed changes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call to move this forward, please.
Trustee Aiello,
Yes.
trustee Bullfus,
Yes.
trustee Taglia,
Yes.
trustee Case,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Davis.
Item number 5, consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, establish a business registration program as part of the fire department's annual inspection program. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The benefits of providing an annual fire inspection and obtaining an updated database of businesses and their full contact information are infinite. The proposed annual fee is $25 for a registration certificate. The fire inspector will provide an annual building fire inspection, and the updated contact information will enable them to share local or state safety issues or revisions impacting the businesses. On behalf of economic development, the updated email information will allow them to stay connected. In an effort to help market vacant spaces, keep business informed of local events and corridor meetings, provide social media support, including Facebook, Twitter, and our new village website. Without this annual fire inspection and updated contact information, we will jeopardize the health and safety of our business owners, operators, and those who occupy the place of businesses in the Village of Villa Park. Staff recommends that the village board pass this ordinance. And Your Honor, I'd like to say a couple of items. With this particular proposal, staff has kind of nicknamed this FIMP, Fire Inspection Management Program. And I'm going to talk just about a couple of things. Inside the village, from a staff level, we have 9 different departments. And some of those departments have different software programs or different lists and different systems that they follow to record data. And one of the items with FIMP, the staff is very excited to implement this and provide the inspections and provide information. One of the items that we intend to do if this is improved is to move forward using one software, one data, if you will, so that the departments pull from one data source instead of, if you will, have silos and different sources of data. And by using one source of data, we're going to nickname it GIS database. And inside the GIS database will be the parcel number, the PIN number, the address, so everything will be cross-referenced. And then the departments will use this GIS database to store information about residential properties and businesses alike. And the information gathered through FIMP or the registration process will be stored on the GIS database and Firehouse software. And then using the GIS database, not only can fire inspections make notations into this software about what they find or what we need to do and who has their inspection, so will economic development use the software, so will public works, and even police department. And what we intend to do if it's approved is to use this database to send information to the businesses, just like we do with the residential Nixle, Constant Contact, and Twitter. But important information to the businesses could be a road closure, could be a bridge closure. Right now, 83 is being worked on. It could be an event mentioned earlier. I believe our Ms. Heidi Holden mentioned the events coming up. We could also transmit that information to the businesses and ask for their participation, or they could transmit things to us asking us for assistance. So we believe FIMP is a right step forward, a correct step, if you will, to move forward in helping our businesses stay healthy and safe. And I just want to kind of bring one project forward that I haven't talked about a lot in the past, but we had an apartment owner with having many apartments, and inside the village, if you have apartment complex, their alarms are tied to DUCOM. So if you have a fire in the apartment complex, the fire alarm is sent to DUCOM, and DUCOM sends or transmit to our safety, police and fire. And so it's over some time, we were working with this property owner, and through inspections and working with this property owner over several years, I want to say close to probably 5, at the end, the property owner installed the necessary safety equipment, hooked them up to DUCOM, and 3 weeks later after doing that, there was a fire in his building and everyone got out safe. And I tell staff that this is my kind of reasoning behind FIMP. So when fire goes and inspect our businesses, that we're fully aware of what's in the businesses. It could be hazardous chemicals. Maybe they have a fire lane blocked. Maybe they have merchandise too close to their sprinklers. It's an opportunity for us to assist them and possibly save lives on an annual basis. So as village manager, I'm really excited to bring this program forward. So thank you, Your Honor, for the time.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to address this issue? Just please state your name and sign in there, please, in 3 minutes.
My name is Cheryl Tucker, 434 South Cornell. Is this a mandatory program?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
It'll
businesses mandatorily have to have an annual fire inspection?
They really had to have an annual fire inspection anyway, so, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken, so.
So that's something they're required to do every year anyway. All the businesses in the village are required to have this inspection?
Yes.
Okay, was there ever a fee previously?
No.
Okay, so you're adding a fee now to have this proposal added due to the software issue? Is that the reason why there's a fee now, or just paperwork?
Let me take that.
What currently is happening, and I'm not the fire chief, obviously, just better looking.
Same amount of hair.
Actually, when you were speaking, it came to my mind that this is an annual inspection program. It not only is good for the businesses, but it forces our staff to get in there on an annual basis, because this is actually an ordinance. So it forces us to go in, and the $25 fee really isn't enough to cover our salary or the software. It's just, it partially covers some of our salary, but it doesn't. But it may cover the paper costs and some of the printing costs and things of that nature, because they will receive a certificate that they should post proudly that they were inspected, when they are inspected, and then it goes in the database, and then carrying a year from that date, they'll be inspected again and things of that nature.
Okay, this database, is it updated for just the village departments? I mean, the information being provided for privacy issues, is this only, I mean, the businesses are opening it up? Privacy issues are relevant.
This is a privacy issues that are relevant when we put a business.
Right, and we recognize that somebody may give us a cell phone number that they do not want given to anyone. And on the forms, we've updated our proposed form, so should be an office use and information that will be put possibly on our website, which would be probably the business's name and their website and things of that nature, but no contact information, because I would not like my cell phone given out, so I kind of put myself in that position. But no confidential information would be given out.
Same thing for the reports that the fire commissioner puts in, or any other information that's put through the village, because you made a statement that if they go in for the inspection, that he documents it into this website for the other departments of the village to see or use.
You want me to cover that?
Go ahead, you're doing fine.
Yes, with this software, this is a multi-departmental software, and it'll be used by, for instance, Public Works for permitting. So if you have an outstanding permit, say that expired, it'll come to a point where you'll be locked out as an employee. You won't be able to do anything with that file until the permit's closed out and things of that nature. So if you have a business address or PIN number, and fire inspector visits the business, they'll note in there, I visited on such and such date. They have to clear say the fire aisle, the fire exit. This needs to be done, or they need to lower their stock away from the sprinkler heads. And these are kind of examples that have happened in the past that have come to mind. And once those are taken, there'll be a re-inspection, and once those are taken care of, then it's noted they're taken care of, they're fine, and they're issued the certificate, and they're on their way.
And the reason for this is you're talking about departmentalizing, so we didn't have 3 different databases, which we have right now, correct? Well, 3 or 4. So that all the departments in the village are going to department, so they can see one database for these businesses and have it all in the central location.
What's happening right now is that in some departments we're using an Excel spreadsheet, and then we use another software, and then maybe we'll have handwritten notes. And some of the statements, and we all say this, that this is the way we've always done it. But we want to get to a central database, so if there's questions from Chief Pavlicek can go into the GIS database and look at the files, or Director Jaskelis or myself, and we don't have to say, are we missing an Excel spreadsheet, or do you have any handwritten notes on this? And so we want to use one database. And how I've been explaining it, and don't laugh, okay, but this is how I've been explaining it. It's like a sun. So this is your database. Each department will pull from the database, instead of each department having a separate database. So we need to make one change in the database. So if I move, then I contact staff, we make a change in that one database. But if I moved and I contact PW and make the change, then fire doesn't know about it, neither does police, but we need to use one central database with all the same information. It's more efficient, it's more economical, and it's better for the village and its citizens.
Are we moving towards the apartment complexes eventually getting into this also?
Well, actually, they'll be on there because they have a PIN number and they have an address. So they'll be in the database just like they are now. It just won't be an Excel spreadsheet or our town. It'll just be a central database. And I'm sure they're in Firehouse, and probably the police software, but yeah. Does that help you?
Okay. Anyone else from the public?
Judy Worley from 625 East Van Buren, and this wasn't what I came to talk about, but what will be the penalty then? Okay, who gets the $25? It's not the fire department, right?
Yes. Go ahead, Liz.
Actually, what'll transpire is that the $25 goes into a revenue account, and the $25 will be used for ink and toner and any type of paper, and it'll be used to subsidize the fire department or the software if we need to, but it's not going to cover very much.
Then I don't see why it's being instituted and imposed on every business in the village. It's not going to cover enough to make the $25 worthwhile. Anybody want to take that?
Well, that's, that's a good statement. It's a good, well, it's not a question, it's a statement.
It's a
However,
statement.
a lot of things that we do as a village and we charge for aren't really covered. I mean, say you issue a permit, a lot of the times we have to go back and then we make comparisons versus Lombard or Addison or Elmhurst. What are they charging for certain permits? And if they get outdated, the fees, and then sometimes they don't cover our costs either. Because what you really want to do is take a look and at least break even on fuel or maintenance, salaries of that nature. And for this particular program, I think the safety and health of the businesses is much more important than charging $25, but at least it makes an attempt at covering some salary or ink and toner.
And how, if a business disagrees or doesn't pay it, then what is the penalty for
Administrative adjudication.
not?
There's, inside
How
the
do you-
ordinance, I'm sorry, go
How
ahead.
do you have to, where is that billed to each business?
Inside the ordinance, there's late fees, and there are also, could be issued a citation, and they would come before the adjudication hearing officer, which that hearing officer has 2 monthly meetings on Thursdays.
Okay. I would just stay by my statement that ink and toner really, in this day and age, I don't think are a big use of resources. I mean, you can send me an email with an attachment. I can print out my little form. You don't have to mail it to me. You don't have to spend money on a certificate. So when you say that, it's a little discouraging that, businesses are going to be charged a fee for something that should be outdated in 2014. So that's my statement.
Thank you. Anyone else? And we'll open it up for the board. Any questions? Trustee Wagner.
Thank you. I just have a couple questions. In the ordinance, it says, businesses that operate from distinct spaces or buildings with separate addresses shall be deemed to be separate businesses regardless if such businesses are owned or operated by the same person. Does that mean if somebody has a small warehouse that's a separate building, that they have to pay a separate fee? Yeah.
That's a very good question, and if they're a business, a retail business, you would think that they'd be open for business and have regular business hours and things of that nature. Warehouses, I would have to defer to the chief and deputy chief, but I would assume that they're also inspected.
There's a separate building on this thing.
Okay.
But a separate business, if you operate the same business from 2 buildings on the same premises, it would be 1 business license or 1 fire inspection license. If you have, typical example when we're training hearing officers, is if you have, and many of us do, and you have a Dunkin' Donuts and a ice cream place in the same facility, but they're 2 separate operations, 2 businesses. That's 2 business licenses, even though they're in the same building, because it's 2 separate businesses.
Well, my question is, and I don't know if we have many businesses like this, but say a business might have inventory stored in another building.
The way it's written, it's per business. So if you have 1 business operation, and I say to you, all buildings are inspected, but it's 1 business.
Okay.
It's not per facility, it's per business operation.
Okay, then maybe this seems a little ambiguous to me. But I have another question. It says in registration required, it says it shall be unlawful for any person to engage in any business at a place of business in the village without obtaining registration. So we have Five Star Swap Meet, and there's a bunch of little vendors there that sell different things. Do each of those individuals have to get a registration?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
But those spaces are so small. I mean, some of them are 5 by, I don't know what they are, 10 by 8, and they're just little booth spaces.
You know,
It seems that we could,
by square footage, you're saying, or?
yeah, I just think that charging somebody, and I should preface by saying I'm not a big fan of Five Star Swap Meet, but I did happen to walk through there, and there are a lot of people with tiny little spaces, and they're selling whatever. You know, and it's a shallow space. You know, maybe it's 8 by 10, and to charge them $25 when there's really nothing to look at, it's just a tiny space.
I think in your, with the Five Star, that the lease is for Five Star Swap Meet,
Okay.
not for each individual little business in there.
Right,
Okay,
now would you
that's what
explain-
I
right.
wanted to clarify.
They're not a business operating, I'm just coming in and for the day.
Well, they're starting to permanently, but, you know.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Mhm. So, but I guess it would sort of be go with the lease,
Yes,
you know, so in Five Star Swap Meet, then it would just be a permit for Five Star Swap Meet, not for each individual little business.
we'd have to look at,
But on the other end, you've got Johnson Lighthouse Lighting over here, who has a Subway and a Dunkin' Donuts in there. Does he sublease that? We
don't know.
We don't know.
that's part of the reason for the registration, is we don't know. So if there's an issue with one of the operations, or a danger with one of the operations, we don't now, we know in some instances where we have a file, and in other instances, we don't. We know who the owner of the property is, but we don't know necessarily who's responsible for the equipment that could be dangerous and shorts and whatever.
Yeah, I see the merit in all this, and I think it's a great thing to clarify, you know, who's operating the businesses, contact information, but there's a lot of questions that, I mean, some of this is a little ambiguous and could be interpreted in different ways.
Mayor?
Sure.
I know you're right. However, until we adopt the ordinance and come up with issues, just like our budget being amended, and we see what unique businesses we have in Villa Park that we hadn't registered before, we will come before you to make corrections, additions. To sit here and try to guess at the issues that you're talking about, I think would waste our time in terms of getting the program underway. I guarantee you, if it's not operating for certain issues, there would be amendments to the ordinance, just like everything else we do.
But couldn't we write the ordinance with more clarity? That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah, is this on our formal?
I do not believe so.
I don't think. Hey,
It's on the formal, it's only for the first reading.
Yes,
only.
maybe we can, if you want, we could, well, first off, let's see if anybody else has any other questions. But we could always move this forward and then have staff work out those issues and before it comes back up on the formal, on the 28th, if that's okay.
Is this going to be a final vote this evening?
No.
Okay, all right.
We could just vote to move this forward, but it's not a final vote.
Okay, but I would like some,
I think there's a
Just some
few
more
questions
clarity on
that
this.
need to be answered, some issues that, and if anybody else has any issues, now's the time to bring them up.
Yeah, I have
So,
several.
Trustee Taglia.
Okay, first of all, businesses are required to have an annual fire inspection, is that correct? At this current point?
Yes.
in time. Okay, so they're required already. And currently, there is no fee structure for fire inspection?
That's correct.
Okay. So we don't know, do we know how many businesses they are in Villa Park that have been inspected by the fire department?
Well, should be all of them,
Well, I
but
understand.
some
I'm looking
businesses
for a
move
number.
in and they don't tell us.
Okay.
That's
No,
what,
I-
that's what
I
we're
understand
trying
that
to,
part, but as
part of what
far
we're
as
trying
the
to do
People
here.
that we know about, is there a number?
I don't
And
know.
I don't want
don't
it right
know.
now, but perhaps
Right.
we could get it.
Right.
Also, something that I know about Villa Park allows you to have a home-based business. And I know many people who, take advantage of that ordinance in Villa Park where they operate small businesses out of their homes, and I think most of the time they're perfectly fine and people don't even realize it. Would they be subject to this ordinance?
No, the ordinance states in there that home-based businesses are not
Okay,
subject to
just to
it.
clarify, make sure that, just to clarify.
Mhm.
Okay, and then, currently there's no fee structure. I'd be interested to see what a $25 annual fee would, what the net would be for the amount of businesses that we know about when that comes available. Now, I know this is the first reading, and we have, or this is not the first reading, but before the first reading.
Right.
So. Okay, that's it.
Any other questions? Trustee Aiello.
Briefly, when I first saw this ordinance, I thought, oh, great, another $25 fee, I gotta pay for nothing. But then I thought, as I read it more off, a little deeper into it, even, I don't think it has anything to do with, from my perspective. It doesn't have anything, I know staff's opinion and manager's position might be a little different than what I'm thinking, but to me, it doesn't have anything to do with fire. Because everyone already has fire. I've already got to get inspected as a business. Businesses already have to be inspected, so this doesn't do anything to change that, other than add the $25 fee. But it does do something different. And it adds the database that fire can use, but fire already has it because they're already doing this. So it can be used for economic development, community development, and other entities. But I think the critical one that I thought made sense, and I'll throw a $25 fee on it just to support it, is from a community development, economic development standpoint, I think that would be helpful to people in community development and economic development. So that when someone calls into the village and says, hey, you know, I'm looking for this kind of business in this area, I need a plating guy. You guys got any plating guys in Villa Park? And I'm right down the road, and we're in, Bensonville, and I just need a guy that's 5 minutes away, and they can have an answer faster if they've got this database in place. So for that reason, that's why I would support it. But I do agree that it does need some work. So to clarify, I think we should exempt the five-star businesses that Trustee Wagner was referring to from that ordinance. But that's all I have.
I think you hit the nail right on the head with how it benefits all the other department, police department, and the community development, and the economic development. The communication issue has been, we had a little trouble with that. I do have a question, though. This information that's gathered, and I think Cheryl Tucker was sort of getting to that, is this information going to be accessible to the public? No, unless they FOIA it. So they can't go to this one database.
No, every, is it all right?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, every record in this city hall is subject to FOIA unless it falls within the exemption. So if I get information from a business owner, a social security, driver's license, I don't care who it is, it's not going to leave here, it may not leave here. However, if I get any information that's proprietary about their business dollars, it shall not leave here. But it's no different for a business operation than it is for a resident, so that any of the information that's personal is personal. With regard to building code violations, I would have to check FOIA. I think business complaints and citations may be released, whereas our homes, absolutely not, unless the owner approves it. So there is a law that is in place, we all know it, that is supposed to protect the business owner or the resident from what is personal versus what should be made known to the public. And that's what we would use. We wouldn't give out any information if it's exempted under FOIA.
Our economic development director.
Hi, I'm Jan
Jan.
Fiola, the Economic Development Director here. And to answer some of the questions that are being raised tonight, when I came on board, I asked the same question that you are asking tonight as far as how many businesses we have in the village. And I was told of numbers exceeding 1,000 easily. And I'm like, well, can I have a list of them? And there were all these lists. So that's where economic development kind of took it upon ourselves to literally call the businesses, pull all of these lists together and put together one complete updated list that we have today. As official, like at 5 o'clock, there were like 527 businesses that we have complete contact information. The form that we have developed allows a business to check whether or not the basic information would be available for us to post on the website to help market them. Basic information such as business name, the address, the phone, fax, email, and the type of business. The additional business, all the personal contact information, that's for the fire department, that's for internal, that is not for public information. So we still have 197 businesses to confirm all the information. So we may have a total of about 700 businesses in the village presently, but the intent is for each tenant, the tenant, not the building owner, but the individual tenant who has a lease, to be protected by the fire inspection program. So hopefully that answers some of the questions that you might have. And as far as the certificate, we're intending to have it color-coded, but it's simply a sheet of paper that they can proudly post, on the wall. But I think more importantly, it's going to help assure that we have a full-time fire inspector available to meet all businesses within an annual year.
Okay, any other questions from the, yes, trustee Case?
Can I ask the fire chief a question? How many businesses do you go in? Well, you gotta come up to the podium. How many businesses do you guys don't know what are in that business? I mean, this would help you out if you had a complete data on each business
It would
has
help
in
us
it.
out tremendously, because we would know at 2 o'clock in the morning, we have an incident, who we call.
Right, so if you need backup, you already know you're going into a place with hazardous waste.
We'll have a good idea, we'll have a good layout, pre-planned,
Right,
and contact information that we need at 2 o'clock in the morning.
okay,
And it happens quite often. We get there, what do we do?
right.
We can't get a hold of somebody, what do we do now?
So with this extra data, that would help out you guys extremely.
Extremely.
Thank you.
And probably help out Chief Pavlicek too.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
President Pro Tem.
Yes.
This is digressing a little bit, but when a business gets a certificate of occupancy, do we require that they have a Knox box too, is that correct?
No.
No? So some businesses don't have a Knox box.
Trustee Davis?
I'm all in favor of this. I mean, there's a lot of towns that, this is norm, having this type of thing. To be able to have the internal departments all be looking at the same thing, is huge. To know who the key holder is on the scene is huge. There's been many a times that I know of that there's no key holder to get a hold of. It's also nice to know what is in that premises, because I know I've gone into a building not knowing what's in there. I don't like them going into buildings with them not knowing in there, or the chief. So I think I'm totally behind this. The more information we get about a property and the people who's in it, the better we are. Not saying we're selling this list, because we're not selling this list to any companies. It's for our internal use only. But like the attorney said, everything's foilable to a point. So, but with that in regards, I'm all for this. I mean, every business as I've been involved, we've had to have fire inspections, and $25 was actually really cheap.
What was the proposed beginning date of this? I didn't see anything in there when this would start. You want to take your chance? Director Fiola?
I believe in the ordinance, it states upon approval. So,
But that's not possible, because you can't.
Yeah, she's got a list.
It is
You got a
actually.
list. Okay.
We've worked very, very closely with the fire department, and our fire inspector has started to go out and start collecting information. But as soon as the ordinance is approved, assuming it was the 14th or the 28th of April, we targeted May 1st, actually saying on our website that this is a new adopted program, and to start rolling it out to get the fire inspection going, such that anything happening in 2014 would also be covered for 2015.
Would this be renewable on a calendar year basis or on the village fiscal year basis?
Calendar year.
Calendar year. So then we would be starting the program and possibly in the middle of the year.
Correct.
Prorated?
If the inspection is done this year, it covers this year and next year.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Manager, sorry, President Pro Tem, one more question.
Yes, Trustee Davis.
Would our part-time inspector be going back to full-time?
Go ahead.
To answer your question, not at this time. The part-time inspector helps ED and does the fire inspection. And it would be my thought to see how we progress from this before making a commitment to bring on another full-time job.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because the fees wouldn't be able to pay for a full-time person, so. Yeah. Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote to move this forward.
Okay. Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
And so this will go forward. Item number 6, consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing regulations prohibiting excess engine idling. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. This ordinance would prohibit excess engine idling of a motor vehicle which operates on diesel fuel within the village in order to protect the public health and welfare and the environment by reducing noise emissions and conserving fuel. The idling time of diesel-fueled motor vehicles as outlined in the ordinance will be limited to no more than 10 minutes within any 60-minute period. The penalty for violations is $50 for the first conviction and $150 for a second subsequent conviction within a 12-month period. Staff recommends that the village board approve this ordinance. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, any questions or comment from the board? Trustee Davis.
President Pro Tem, I would actually like to see the violations go from 75 to 100. Leave a second at 150 and go to a third at 300.
Can I, my comment on that is, first, who gets the ticket? The business owner or the driver of the vehicle?
Driver. But in dealing with it in the past, when I was in the field, the companies pay for it.
You hope.
Everyone I've worked for.
So, yeah, I just, you got some guy driving a truck or driving a school bus and barely making ends meet, doing it just so they can have their ends meet. And if by chance they're idling for 5 minutes longer and they get a complaint and they get hit with a ticket, and if the boss doesn't pay it, $100 is a lot of money for that.
They won't do it again, will they?
No. So, any other questions from the board?
Not at this time.
I had one, and you know what? It just went.
Well,
okay, Trustee
I'll
Allen.
ask you a question so you can have some time to think about yours. What prompted this? Just because the buses are idling, or we're trying to get truckers out of here? Or what prompted that ordinance to be drafted?
Trustee Davis, maybe he's
It's actually state law. There's a state
That's
law
true.
on this.
Is state law on this already?
It's just we're not enforcing it.
Gotcha.
Do we already have something on our books about the idling?
No.
Is this an amendment, or is this new?
This would allow us to enforce it locally as opposed to a state law bringing it before the state's attorney.
Does this copy the state law? Is it pretty much the same?
I believe, yes, we can verify that before second reading if you wanted to copy the state law exactly.
Any other questions? Trustee Wagner.
Thank you. I'm in favor of this. I think it provides protections for people who may live adjacent to a trucking company that that may be in existence, or it may be in existence in the future. The anti-idling legislation that's in effect was kind of developed by Kay McKean from here in DuPage County, from Scarce. And I think if you've ever been in close proximity to trucks that are idling for a long time, you wouldn't want to live adjacent to a facility that did this. So I think it's a good way to protect people and to make sure that trucking businesses, follow the law. So.
How is this enforcement initiated? Is it a complaint by someone calling, or is the police department just able to, is it going to be proactive or reactive, or how's it going to institute the complaint? Do you want to take it, or you want me to?
I don't see where it's different than any other complaint.
Do you need
We have
somebody to sign
littering.
off a complaint?
We have authority for our police department, our building code department, and several other officials to issue citations. And this would be no different. I mean, where there's broken glass someplace, broken windows, it's usually because a neighbor called. When there's littering, loitering, all those issues, it's usually because of phone call. And I don't see how this would be any different than any other ordinance violation.
I noticed too that in the ordinance, there was nothing in there about number of feet from a residential building.
The idea is it's not intended to be one ordinance with regard to proximity to a residence. It's to be village-wide.
Trustee Davis. I'll be right back.
Just so you know, President Pro Tem, a lot of the larger trucking companies already have systems on their trucks that shut them out after a certain time frame, and they have themselves saved a lot of money in fuel against that idling. So, I mean, it's nothing new. It's been around for quite a while. It's just, getting it enforced now. And overall, the trucking companies, if they're letting their trucks idle for an hour, it's a lot of fuel being dumped into this emissions for this, environment. So I thought I'd tell you that.
Okay. Trustee Case.
How do we enforce this? You gotta pay, we gotta start buying stopwatches, or?
No, I mean, the issue is with any of these ordinances, it would be difficult. It would be because someone has reported it's going for a long time and a citation would issue. And the person receiving the citation would most certainly have an opportunity to defend themselves.
That's their word against.
Well,
Waivers.
but that's the way it is in most,
Any other questions from the board? Trustee Allo.
Members of the public are trying to figure out if school buses are exempt. So I'll ask the question, are school buses exempt?
I did not see any exemption for school buses. I do see the cloud of smoke by Cottage Hill, though, in the wintertime. So, anybody else? Okay, seeing no other comments, roll call to move this forward.
Okay, Trustee Taglio.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes. Okay. Number 7 has been removed. Item number 8, consider a resolution authorizing change order number 1 to the contract between the Village of Villa Park and A-Lamp Concrete Contractors Incorporated for the 2013 North Michigan Ave Improvement Project. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village has a contract with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors, Inc. of Schaumburg, Illinois for the 2013 North Michigan Avenue Improvement Project. Proposed change order number 1 consists of the balancing of contract quantities as measured in the field to date. The net amount of this proposed change order number 1 is an addition of $26,207.70 for a revised contract amount of $1,002,954.20.
Want to try that again?
Yes, I will. $1,002,954.20. These funds are available and will be split between street improvement water and wastewater funds, and the proposed FY 14-15 budget reflects these numbers. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the public? State your name again, Cheryl.
Cheryl Tucker. What's this revised, this change from order one? What does it actually state? How did they come up with this amount?
Your Honor.
Go right ahead.
What typically happens is the budget gets bid, we sign the contracts, et cetera, and the contractor starts, but once they dig into the contract, or once they dig into the roadway, North Michigan, we may have needed more gravel, we may need more CA6 gravel, and things of that nature, because once they start digging, they may find things that were unanticipated or worse than what we originally thought. And that's what happens, is they use more materials than expected, and you know, reasonably, you know, the bid can only go so far when you measure the quantities without digging in and taking a look at truly what's under the surface. So, Director Giskelis, would you like to add anything?
Sure. Actually, if you look at the details of the change order, there's $124,428 in additions and $98,220 in subtractions. So on some of the bid quantities, we were over quantities. On some of the bid quantities, we were under quantities. Where we were over quantities primarily on the sanitary services, because we did open up to the residents the opportunity to repair their services in the street on a 50-50 cost sharing basis while the street was dug up. Also on the water services, we are mandated by the EPA if we encounter a service that is made out of lead that we have to replace it. So we estimate those quantities prior to the contract being awarded, and then we adjust the contract once we know what the actual numbers are.
Thank you.
Question, how did we come up with that amount?
They're actually measured by the engineers in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So they measured what they used
Mhm.
on top of what you already bidded on?
Well-
And we decided on this is the amount?
Yes,
Add to the
yes,
contract?
our engineers have to measure all the quantities of every project, and then they match up with the contractor, what he says that he did versus what we say he did, and then usually there's some negotiations involved, and then we come to terms on what the final quantities are. This project is not yet completed. There is still final restoration that is to take place when the weather allows.
Mr. President?
How are they figuring out the split? Because, I mean, in March, we used the water and waste funds to purchase two vehicles. Now we're using it for this fund too.
So how do we figure out which funds we're taking the money out of?
How are you figuring out how you're going to split it between all
Well,
three of
it
these?
pretty much has to do with what they're dealing with under the ground there. If they're dealing with a water line, it goes out of the water fund. If they're dealing with a sewer line, it comes out of the sewer fund. So they keep track of
Determining
that.
by what type of job they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then what over, I mean, obviously, you're pulling out parts for the budget also is adding on to this.
That's what it says.
So they're splitting it up by what they're actually using, doing on it,
Mhm.
is how they're determining what fund they're taking it out of.
Right. It's a lot of work.
And then flip a coin.
Any other questions from the public? Okay, seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Taglia.
I was asked this question, I just want to see if there's clarification. In the case that the street is pretty new, and it was laid last November, I think, is that right? Is there a warranty on asphalt on the top cover of the street? If there happens to be some type of distortion or damage from the winter, is that something that's covered by a warranty?
Usually, there's a one-year warranty. However, the fact that this winter was very unusual, many municipalities have noticed cracking in some of their streets that were done last winter. And so I think as a group, we're still trying to work through that. You know, practically the only thing you can really do if a crack opens up is to seal the crack. You know, because it was certainly caused by heaving of frost and nothing that the contractor did incorrectly. And so it's a tough one.
I might disagree with you, but okay.
The warranties generally cover defects in
Yes.
material or
Yes.
workmanship. And you get a problem like the winter we've had wasn't a defect.
No, I understand. That was a hypothetical situation.
That's a hypothetical answer.
Sometimes there's actual defects in what was put down, if that were the case. If there was a defect when they laid the pavement, is that something that's...
I remember they test it when they do it.
There are quality control procedures that they follow when the asphalt's being put down. They have to measure the compaction, they have to provide the tickets from the asphalt plant certifying that the
Yeah, I
material
understand
is
that. I'm just saying,
correct.
we'll look at it. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Seeing none, roll call to move this forward.
Yes, trustee Wagner,
Yes?
trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
That'll move forward. Item number 9, consider a resolution for the First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage Stormwater, Bussey Woods, and the Village of Villa Park. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. This resolution was supplied by DuPage County as an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement regarding Bussey Woods Dam and the Salt Creek Watershed Flooding Control Project. The Village of Villa Park is one of the communities involved in the intergovernmental agreement, which shares the cost of the study and design of the Bussey Woods Dam modifications. The village's cost of this study is $12,500. Staff recommends the board formally accept the revisions to the original intergovernmental agreement. The funds will be taken from the Stormwater Buyout Fund. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner.
Just a question. Wow. What is the formula that determines how much we pay? Because I'm just looking at what, for example, Elmhurst pays and Oak Brook pays. I mean, they have more shoreline, if you will, on Salt Creek than we do. And why are they paying less and we're paying more?
That was my question, too.
Okay.
How did that come up? The formula, how did they come up with our $12,500? That you? So, who knows?
It was a number provided by DuPage County. And the original request, holy cow, probably about 14 months ago, was $5,000, which escalated to $12,500. And the formula has not been presented to us on how the $12,500 is ours, so I don't have an answer for you.
I can conjecture.
Okay, we'll listen to your conjecture.
Way back
That's all
when,
we
I
have.
remember they did some kind of cost-benefit analysis, and they calculate how much each community will benefit from the changes. So I think that may have been part of the factor, that it would benefit us more than Elmhurst. But again, that's theoretical. But I'm not sure if that's how they came up with the numbers.
I'm having a little trouble moving this forward without knowing, because I agree with Trustee Wagner. I think Oak Brook's was what, $3,500? It's on my computer, but I don't have it here. And ours is $12,500?
I can answer that.
Okay.
Oak Brook's further downstream, so they're further away from the improvement.
that's
So the
an issue.
Okay,
benefits.
well, let's use Elmhurst. They have as much shoreline as we do, I would think.
And they're double our population.
Yeah. So,
That I can't answer.
you think, can we get that in? Is there a time, is this time sensitive or not?
I don't
Nobody
think
else?
so, Your Honor. I can have it for you in the 28th.
You think then, how about if we move this forward? Okay, we'll finish the questions. Okay, let's go with Trustee Davis.
Can we just table this until we get the information?
That's part of
Move
the
to
question.
table.
Second.
Whether we table on the COW or?
Yes, then it goes back to a COW.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
If you table it on COW, so maybe what you want to do is move it forward to a formal agenda, and then if you're not satisfied, table it, and then that'll cost you 2 weeks, as opposed to this'll cost 4 weeks.
Right, so they give the staff 2 weeks to get the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Trustee Wagner, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to suggest tabling, but.
Okay.
So would the motion to table be withdrawn, please?
There wasn't a motion. I did that.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Okay, any other questions?
So we're going to table this in the formal?
No,
No,
yes.
we're not, well, we're
Yes,
gonna,
you're gonna move it up. I believe it is on the
it's on
formal.
the
Yes,
formal,
sir.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get there, we'll get the motion to table. Okay. Any other questions here on the COW, on that item? Seeing none? Okay, roll call to move this forward.
Okay, Trustee Davis?
No.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bullfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
No.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll move forward. Item number 10, consider benefits resolution. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Honor. Village of Villa Park has insurance coverage for their employees, retirees, and other covered employees that renews on July 1, 2014. The current carrier for health insurance is Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. It is recommended that the village again renews coverage at a total cost of $2,674,178. Village contributions equal approximately $1,889,504. In addition, the village has a self-insured Delta Dental of Illinois program that will renew on July 1, 2014. It is recommended the village renews their coverage at a total cost of $128,147. Village contributions of approximately $46,632. Life insurance is provided by Fort Dearborn Life. Village contributions, $9,186. It's a self-insured vision provided by Vision Service Plan. Village contributions of $17,862. EAP services provided by Elmhurst Hospital Guidance Center. Village contributions, $3,887. And IRS Section 125 Flexible Benefit Services. The village contributions for this is $1,834. With multi-year contracts that are not eligible for renewals this plan year, the fiscal year 2014-15 budget provides funding for these benefits, and it is recommended that a consensus be reached to renew coverages during this evening's COW meeting. If approved this evening, a resolution will be presented during the regular board meeting on Monday, April 28th for final approval. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Question? Comment? Go ahead. Come up there. State your name again for the record, please. Keep your 3 minutes if possible.
Oh, no, my question is, Judy Worthy again, 625 East Van Buren, is it, has there been a cost comparison then that you people are looking at for the other insurance carriers in the state of Illinois?
Go ahead.
Land of Lincoln, Aetna, yes. So what kind
Yes.
of cost do you, what kind of savings are available? None, what, some?
Yes, in fact, let's have Human Resource Coordinator Janet Gorman come forth and kind of explain the competitive bid process.
Hi. We actually use a brokerage firm called Hub International, and they go out and they do a full marketing of our program every year. And in this case, in this year, we did receive a quote from, I believe it was Humana, was almost 11% higher than our current quote. Cigna came out at 1% below, but the problem with that is they don't have Elmhurst Hospital in their HMO lookalike. And under our labor contracts, that's one of our problem areas would be that we'd have to somehow come up with some sort of hospital. Obviously, I think we have like maybe half of our people that use Elmhurst, so that wasn't really a viable alternative for us. A number of the other carriers, unfortunately, we have a high retiree population, so I believe it was Aetna that had refused to give us a quote. And then United Health, they just didn't quote at all this year. So unfortunately, the number of providers in Illinois is shrinking. So we're not really we don't have as wide a variety to go to, but when we do a full marketing, they do go to the market and ask anybody who is interested in providing it.
Has there been any kind of pullbacks on services provided to employees? I mean,
That's actually, because we have 4 labor unions, we're actually bound by those labor contracts to provide certain coverages. And for the non-union people this year, they are contributing an additional 1%, and I believe that the board has already approved them increasing their contributions. But the actual plan of design is really dictated by what is negotiated with the unions, so.
All right.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you, Janet. Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call to move this forward.
Okay, Trustee Ayello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Caglia.
No.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, now we'll convene to the formal agenda. Item number 1 is the village president's report. We have a couple proclamations there, and I asked Manager Keener if he'd be so kind to read those proclamations, because I've got a sore throat. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The first proclamation is, it's a National Library Week, April 13th through the 19th, 2014. Whereas libraries help lives change in their communities, campuses, and schools. Whereas libraries and librarians bring together community members to enrich and shape the community and address local issues, even bringing services outside library walls. Whereas librarians are trained professionals providing technology training and access to downloadable content like ebooks. Whereas libraries continuously grow and evolve to meet the needs of every member of their communities, such as offering programs that provide residents with resume writing classes and 24/7 homework help and financial planning services, to teens applying for student loans and to older adults planning their retirement. Whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week and its message, lives change at your library. Now therefore be it resolved that I, visited a village president, Deb, look absolutely nothing like village president Bullwinkle, but proclaim National Library Week, April 13th through the 19th, 2014. I encourage all residents to visit the library this week to take advantage of the wonderful resources available at your Villa Park Public Library. Now therefore, I, Deborah Bullwinkle, Village President of Villa Park, proclaim April 13th, 2014 through April 19th, 2014 in Villa Park, dated this 14th day of April 2014. So, National Library Week, Your Honor. And we do have several of our excellent library staff in the audience this evening.
Sure, go ahead. We have.
Hi. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say hello, let you know that we're gearing up for our summer reading clubs, and to get the word out to parents that it's important to join our summer reading clubs this year. Libraries are changing. We're in transition. We're doing our traditional services, but as the proclamation indicated, we have a lot of other resources available. E-books, e-magazines. We just started a new service called Zinio, which has 14 e-periodicals available to Villa Park cardholders. We're part of eRead Illinois, which is a system available of e-books available to our members of our community. And we are also, our project that we're working on for the village for the 100th anniversary is an anniversary cookbook, Centennial of Cooking. So each one of you have a recipe, you have an assignment. We need recipes for the 100th anniversary cookbook. The Friends of the Library are going to fund the generation of the cookbook and are going to input the recipes. And any funds, any proceeds that we get, the Friends have pledged to purchase trees in the tree adoption program. So we thought that was a good way to give back to the community, and so they're spearheading that effort. The motto of National Library Week is "Lives change at your library," and it's true. Sometimes we don't realize how much impact you can have in an individual's life, and or how important those connections and individual transactions are. I just had a comment, it was about 2 months ago, from a gentleman who came up to me and said, "Sandy, I want to thank you for offering those computer classes. They changed my life." And I said, "Oh, what's going on? What happened?" And he just said that it gave him the confidence to learn about computers. He changed his jobs. He's much happier with what he's doing now. So it just illustrates what we can do and what impact you can make. So the other thing I wanted to highlight is we have a new head of circulation and outreach, and her name is Candace Kretler, and I wanted to introduce you to her.
I just wanted to say hello, and I'm looking forward to working on the different special events within the community and also other governmental entities and getting to know the village of Villa Park a little bit more. I came from the village of Bloomingdale, so thank you very much.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, Candace. And thank you, Sandy, for your remarks. And while I'm thinking about to my wife, I need a recipe. You know, so we'll get
I'll
it to
buy
Sandy.
a book, no recipe. I'll buy 2 books, no recipe.
Thank you. Okay, we have another proclamation, so go ahead.
Thank you, Honor. This proclamation is recognizing April 25th, 2014 as Arbor Day in Villa Park. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed that a special day be set aside for planting trees to be known as Arbor Day. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed around the world and is celebrated on the last Friday in April in the state of Illinois. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees in our village increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas for the 29th year in a row, Villa Park has been designated as a Tree City USA, and whereas Villa Park will celebrate Arbor Day with a tree planting ceremony on April 25th, 2014. Now therefore, I, Deborah Bullwinkle, Village President of Villa Park, proclaim April 25th, 2014 as Arbor Day in Villa Park. Further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations, dated this 14th day of April 2014. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is number 2, is public comments on agenda items. Anybody have any comments on the formal agenda? I think you've all had copies of it.
While I was sitting there, seeing you bring up the excessive on the formal agenda.
The excessive engine item? The engine item?
Excessive idling.
Yep.
I do think you're gonna need to look into school buses for the simple fact that a lot of the school buses idle, waiting for the kids to get out of the school zones for more than 10 minutes. So I don't know what the state regulation is on that, on whether it's in effect, but some of these zones that the school buses are at, they may be ticketing those bus drivers quite a bit for the idling of excessive amount of time. So I don't know what the federal law is, but you might want to look a little deeper into that with the school buses, because I can see the trucks and the other property diesel vehicles going through the village and stuff, but you've got a lot of diesel vehicles like the buses and other things that are also, you're also affecting the handicap buses, the PACE buses in this contract. So you might want to need to look a little deeper into that before you decide.
this is only first reading tonight?
Yes, first reading.
And I think those would all be covered if we did it the same as we did to the registration, is exempt non-for-profits. I think that would cover the whole gambit of what you're talking about. But I have made notes, so I thank you for your comments. I will, President Board of Trustees, have that revised and report to you for the next meeting.
Can I speak to the Arbor Day thing?
Some of the buses are privately owned, and then they lease it out or contract with it.
Judy Worley again. And I was, the Arbor Day, I just actually stopped this afternoon and took a picture of one of the dead trees planted for Arbor Day on the tot lot here in Villa Park. So my concern is that you can plant a tree, but if you don't water it, it's really unpleasant to see dead trees, when you're walking the prairie path or, trying to, meander around town. And reading the Centennial Tree Adoption Program, just so that anyone understands when they adopt it, they have to water it. Your parkway tree that you are paying $200 for, you water, mulch, prune. The village comes to inspect it. If it is damaged on your property in any way, you are responsible for replacement costs, and you have to ask the village if you can take it down at any time. So my question, and then along those lines, is if there's storm damage, then is that also the homeowner's responsibility? Does the village take any responsibility on the trees that are planted? And given the fact that now everybody has a new water charge fee on their utility bill, so we're paying more for water on trees that a 2-inch caliper tree needs to be watered regularly for the first 2 years. So everybody needs to understand the increased cost, but I'm just a little confused by the whole, after reading the tree adoption program, what that really is accomplishing. And when I tried to find out who, if you want it planted in a park, who's going to water it, there was no answer at Public Works. At the Sugar Creek Golf Course, if you want a tree planted, nobody, sorry for, I'm getting the rolling eyes here, but that the Sugar Creek Golf Course certainly wouldn't want residents running in to water their trees. So how is this whole watering program supposed to happen?
Well,
wants to take
I would
that?
assume if it's in the Parks Department will take care of the watering. If it's in Sugar Creek Golf Course, Sugar Creek Golf Course will be responsible for watering it. If it's on your parkway, it'd sure be nice if you watered it because you spent the money, and we would need some help because we don't have a hose that, reaches that far. We have to pull a tank out there to water. It would be nice if you watched over it yourself. As far as pruning it in storm damage, if it's a parkway tree, generally the village takes care of those issues.
The description in the tree adoption program tells you pruning, mulching, watering, 20 gallons a week, 20 gallons of water a week. So,
you got me on that one. So.
And if I thought that the village was going to be watering trees that are planted in parks, then I would not expect to see dead trees from Arbor Day plantings in the recent past.
Sometimes even if you water them, the trees die.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do, because I've had some that died.
Could I just say that ISA, Illinois 5098A is my number. I'm an Illinois, I'm an International Society of Arboriculture certified arborist, and trees that are cared for, there's no reason that they should die.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Yes, Greg.
We did just have approval. We're filling out a PO. We're buying a big water trailer. So any trees that the Parks Department plants, we will be watering those.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Before we, any amendments to the agenda?
There you go.
We got amendments to the agenda, and I would like to ask for a motion to remove item D from the agenda. That's the resolution approving the amendment for the purchase policies and procedures for the Village of Villa Park.
And E.
Well, E, you want to remove it and then table it, or you want to just table it right
We
now?
want to remove both of them.
Okay, and to remove item E from the agenda also.
President Pro Tem?
Yes.
I just have, before I have a point of information. Item 17C, at the very end of the agenda,
Okay.
is that for final approval tonight?
I believe it is. Unless you want to make a recommendation.
I would like to make a motion to remove from the consent agenda, item D, item E, and I'd like to remove, I'd like item 17C to come back on the COW.
Wait, okay,
Okay.
wait a minute. First do remove D and E from the
Okay.
consent agenda.
Okay,
That's one motion.
I make a motion to remove item D and E from the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second by trustee Allo. Do we have comments on the
No.
amendment? No comments, so roll call vote on that, please.
Okay. Trustee
No
Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Hold on a second. When do you-
Now, a motion to table D, E,
We're not tabling D. We took it off. This we took off of the COW,
right.
so it's not a table.
It's invisible.
It's invisible, it's not there. It's going to come back on the COW. Am I mistaken?
Unfortunately, the way we do things, it's already on the formal agenda published. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just crossed it off.
I know.
Okay, so
That's
you
why
want to
this is
table
good.
that?
My
We removed
suggestion,
it
you didn't remove it from the formal agenda.
just now. He
You took it off the consent agenda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Because-
argue with the attorney a minute.
Yeah. No, the way we do things, it's published on two agendas so that we have to
Okay.
have a record of where we're pushing things.
Okay, so you want to table D
So
and
I want to table D, E, and
E. C,
table
17C.
17C.
Yes, I'll second that.
Right.
Is that your
Lawyers.
motion, trustee Wagner?
Yes, that's my motion.
Okay, and who's the second on that? Trustee Davis? Okay, we got that right? We're tabling D, E, and 17C. Okay. No comment on that, so we go to a roll call vote.
Okay, and the motion, the same people are motioning for this
Yeah,
tabling as well?
the
Okay.
tabling was Wagner, and the
Same-
second
same
was
people.
Davis.
Okay, got it. Okay, trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Now, we have not tabled it to a date certain, so the assumption is it'll be on the committee of the whole to explain the changes and then kicked over.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have the consent agenda now, the modified one, items A, B, C, F, and that's it, A, B, C, and F. That would be the minutes of the village COW, March 24th, 2014 meeting, minutes of the village formal board meeting on March 24th, 2014, first and final reading of an ordinance amending the annual budget for the village of Villa Park for the fiscal year commencing May 1st, 2013 and ending April 30th, 2014. And then the resolution authorizing change order number 1 to the contract between the Village of Villa Park and A-Lamp Concrete Contractors Incorporated for the 2013 North Michigan Ave Improvement Project. And I think I got them all. We need a motion for the consent agenda?
Yes.
So, trustee Davis, the first.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
Trustee Aiello, second. No questions or comments on that? And there's no questions or comments on that, so a roll call vote.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 5. First reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, establishing regulations prohibiting excessive engine idling. Do I have this ordinance will prohibit excessive engine idling of a motor vehicle which operates on diesel fuel within the village in order to protect the public health and welfare and the environment by reducing noise, emissions, and conserving fuel. The idling time of the diesel-fueled motor vehicle, as outlined in the ordinance, will be limited to no more than a total of 10 minutes within any 60-minute period. Penalty for violation is $50 for the first conviction, $150 for the second subsequent conviction within a 12-month period. Staff recommends that the village approve this ordinance. Do we have a motion for the first reading? Trustee Davis is first.
Motion for the first reading.
Do we have a second?
President Pro Tem?
Yes, Trustee Wade.
Second the motion.
We have a first and a second. Any questions or comments?
Mr. President Pro
Yes.
Tem, was there an interest in amending the penalties associated with this violation?
Till I hear a motion, I'm not aware of any.
Making a motion, or am I?
You can do a motion to amend.
President Pro Tem? I'd
Yes.
like to make a motion to increase these fees, as I stated earlier,
To,
75, 150, and 300.
what's the 300?
Third offense.
Okay, is there a third offense listed in here?
Good to add it.
Yes, it's
Oh,
in the
there is?
ordinance.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the motion to amend the fees?
I have one.
Yes,
Mr.
Trustee.
President. Diesel emissions are very dangerous for people. People should know that. The EPA just did a study, an extensive study on diesel emissions. They actually subjected human beings to exposure, dangerous levels of diesel exhaust. I don't know why they did that, but it proved to be very dangerous. Many of people subjected to these tests developed cancer and all types of illnesses. Someone questioned whether or not we should enforce this with school buses. I think absolutely. School buses should not be idling. Our children are getting on those buses. They shouldn't be standing there breathing diesel exhaust while they're waiting to come or go from school. So I think, if anything, the school buses should be the number one people subject to this ordinance, as well as the nuisance business owners who subject their neighbors to unhealthy levels of this dangerous pollution. I think there's a very light penalty. I'm going to look into the state laws. I think this should be a very severe infraction, but I would urge the board to consider voting yes.
Any other comments? Yes, Trustee Case.
Now we're gonna get complaints from the parents because their kids are getting in a cold school bus. So which way are you gonna win?
President Pro Tem.
I'd rather have them cold than sick.
Trustee Davis.
It's called a hotter block heater. We'll take care of that problem. They got them up to 210 degrees, so when they start that bus up, the heater's already blown warm. Installed many of them over the years.
Yes.
The buses are started at the bus depot. They're driven to the schools. In both instances, they should be pretty warm by the time they get there for the kids. You know, I don't think that letting a school bus or line of school buses idle just so that people are more comfortable, I mean, it's subjecting them to long-term health problems. Diesel exhaust is dangerous stuff. That's all.
Well, I have a little trouble with increasing the fee because the driver is the one that's going to get the ticket. And I think at a $50 fee or $150 for a second offense to the driver, he's going to get the message real quick. And I think that this is I think that the 75 and 150 is excessive. So that's my personal opinion. So, anybody else? Trustee Davis?
President Pro Tem, I totally understand you, but the companies, if they're the ones that are paying the fines at this small prices, they're gonna tell them to get out there and run them damn trucks, or lose your job. The drivers say, you know what, I'm not paying this. And I know this for a fact, because I've been in Chicago, that truck gets shut up. I'm not paying that fine again. So I understand your sympathy for the drivers, but drivers in control of that truck.
Anybody else? Trustee Wagner?
Just a question. The way the fines are in here now, this kind of mirrors the state law, is that correct?
I believe yes.
Okay, that's all I wrote.
So then I have to ask the question, are we allowed to increase
Yes,
them?
we can increase it, an infraction of any of our ordinances up to $750.
Okay.
So we're within our statutory limit.
Any other comments on increasing the fines?
Just,
Trustee Wagner?
I'm in favor of the ordinance, but I'm in agreement with you, President Pro Tem. I think
We
we're
need
getting a little overboard with the fines.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah, I'll pass.
Okay, so the motion on the floor right now is to increase the fines to $75, $150, and $300. Can I have a roll call vote on that motion?
Yes. Trustee Bolfus?
No.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
No.
Trustee Wagner?
No.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
No.
So that motion fails. So we're back to the original motion for the first reading of the ordinance for establishing the regulation prohibiting excessive engine idling. Any other comment on that? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
The motion passes. Item number 6, first reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, establishing a business registration program as part of the Fire Department's annual inspection program. The benefits of providing an annual fire inspection are obtaining an updated database of businesses and their full contact information are infinite. The proposed annual fee of $25 for a registration certificate. The fire inspector will provide an annual building fire inspection with an update contact information as well as enable them to share local and state safety issues or revisions impacting their business. On behalf of economic development, the updated email information will allow them to stay connected in effect to help market vacant spaces, keep businesses informed of local events and corridor meetings, provide social media support, including Facebook, Twitter, and other new village websites. Without this annual fire inspection and updated contact information, we will jeopardize the health and safety of our business owners, operators, and those who occupy the place of business in the Village of Villa Park. Staff recommends that the village board pass this ordinance. Have a motion for the first reading, please.
President Pro Tem.
Trustee Davis?
Make a motion for the first reading.
Thank you. Any second?
Second.
Trustee Case seconds. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes. Number 7, second reading of an ordinance adopting an annual budget for all corporate purposes in lieu of the annual appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing May 1st, 2014 and ending April 30th, 2015 and capital improvement plan. The draft of the fiscal year 14-15 budget is presented to the village board for consideration. The budget was presented and discussed at 3 budget workshop meetings held on March 3rd, 2014, March 17th, 2014, and at the village board meeting on March 10th, 2014. All 3 meetings were open to the public. A public hearing regarding the proposed fiscal year 14-15 budget was held on April 14th, 2014 at 7:15. The proposed budget projects a 118-day fund balance in the corporate fund and positive fund balance in all but 2 funds, NESRA and the stormwater buyout, at the end of fiscal year 2014-15. Do I have a motion for the second reading?
President Pro Tem,
Trustee Wagner?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Trustee Davis seconds. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
So that budget passes. Item number 8, second reading of an ordinance for the Village of Villa Park amending the utility billing delinquent fee and procedures to adopt monthly utility billing. The village water and sewer study recommended improvements in the water collection procedure. As a result, the quarterly billing cycle for water, sewer, and garbage will be changed in the ordinance to allow billing on a monthly basis. In order to prepare for the switch from quarterly billing to monthly billing, a number of changes needed to be made to the village ordinance concerning the procedures and policies of utility billing. Staff proposed that the village discontinue the process of tagging and tag fees. Instead, after an account becomes delinquent at 35 days, the village will proceed to terminate water service. In addition to these changes, the security deposit for new water accounts will be $150, and the hours of service for the reinstatement of water services will be between 8 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. during normal business hours. Staff recommends that the village board approve this amendment to the existing ordinance. Do I have a motion for the second reading? Trustee Davis.
Take a motion.
Do I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello?
Second.
Second. Any questions or comments?
President Pro Tem.
Trustee Davis?
Could we please put to bed the rumors that we're adding more fees onto this and the monthly service charge of, what is it, $450? I think. Could somebody please entertain the public and let them know what the truth is, please?
Okay.
We're not getting rich off of this, and people seem to think we are.
It's currently $1.50 per month.
Thank you.
Since we bill quarterly, it's a $4.50 charge per bill. It's still going to be $1.50.
Thank you.
There's no change.
Yeah, I have heard that question before, so thank you, Shan. Trustee Wagner?
Just a question about the security deposit. Is that staying the same, or has that been changed?
It's increasing to $150 instead of $100.
Oh.
It'll only be triggered as new customers come in.
Yeah, was this in the ordinance we got?
Yes.
It was?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have one more question.
Yes.
So, if a resident sells their home, they then get the security deposit back?
Correct.
Okay.
Do they get their security deposit back after any length of time?
Yes. It's after 4 years of prompt payment, and they request the refund. Then it'll be refunded.
I'll be talking to you.
I don't think you have. I don't know.
Okay. If they have a history of delinquent payments, then they obviously don't get the security deposit
No,
back.
it has to be 4 years of prompt payments.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing no other, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
No.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes. Number 9, first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the final planned unit development plan for the development of the property located at 151 West North Avenue. A public hearing was originally held on this request before the Planning and Zoning Commission on October 10, 2013. The request is to convert an existing car wash into a quick-serve restaurant with a drive-through window. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this item at their meeting on March 13th, 2014. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call vote. Oh, we need a motion, that's right. Just trying to move this along. We have a motion to approve. First and final reading.
President Pro Tem.
Trustee Wagner?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Davis?
I'll go second that.
Now, do I have any questions or comments? Then we'll have a vote.
Food, right?
Okay.
Pardon me?
It's gonna be very clean food, isn't it?
I'm not going there.
Trustee Davis? Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Abstain?
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Motion passes.
For the record, the abstention has to be excused by the chair. For the record, the abstention has to be excused by the chair, so it's not put with the majority vote. Is there a conflict, Trustee Ayello?
If I told you there was a conflict, it might cause a different disclosure problem. So there's a conflict, yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
And then the chair recognizes it, so it does not go with the majority
Okay.
vote.
I recognize that, so,
Keeps it really pure and holy.
that's right. We want to be pure and holy.
Pure and holy.
Okay. Number 10, public comment on non-agenda items. Okay, please try to, 3 minutes would be appreciated.
Judy Worley, 625 East Van Buren, and I'm just here to make sure that the people of Villa Park are aware of the proposed stormwater management fee, which I've been assured is still proposed and not a completed tax. And this flyer, you would need to go to Public Works and ask for it because it's behind the glass. It's not available in any of the village buildings. To just go in and pick it up, so you have to go business hours and ask the receptionist for a copy of it. So every resident, it's for every residence, every business, or every property owner rather in the village. Every homeowner is going to be paying $5.45 per month on this new monthly billing cycle. And the businesses are going to be allowed discounts, possibly exemptions, I don't know, but discounts up to 50% for their contribution to the stormwater problem in the village. I have put a petition together because I oppose the way this has been not presented to the village residents. And what I'm saying is that this is actually, you can call it a fee, but it's a tax. The definition of a tax is a charge usually of money imposed by authority on persons or property for public purposes. This is what it is. It should be opposed for the following reasons. The worst offenders in terms of stormwater issues and amount of impervious surface are going to be given the discounts, while homeowners will not. There's no clearly written or explained plan for the distribution of the collected tax. For example, who gets on the list, who's first, what is the program, the process for getting your stormwater problem fixed. There's absolutely no commitment from the village in this flyer to changing its own contributions to the worsening stormwater management issues in the village. And by this, my example would be, if you want to, if you can get a permit to, say, cover how many thousand square feet with concrete on your property, you can do it as long as you pay the permit fee. And, that you're taking money from, and that person, that homeowner that say the house that I'm thinking of looks like a business now, and it used to be a gravel driveway. Now he has a pretty white concrete driveway with a huge parking pad right by the street. So he's going to pay $5.45, and I'm going to pay $5.45. So the village and is going to get money for the permit, and they're going to then get money for the stormwater management fee. And if people have not looked at their bill, I mean, most of the people that I talk to aren't aware of the stormwater management fee, and I don't think they look too closely at their utility bill. So I would just suggest that you read that thing, because you now have a new water charge fee. If you have, if you're hooked up to water, you have a wastewater fee. If you have sewer, which I don't, and you're going to possibly be looking at a new stormwater management fee. So $5.45 a month. So you can go to, if you don't have the flyer, if you want to go to invillapark.com, you go to the government heading, and then you drop down to the transparency in government. The stormwater rate study, number 11, is at the bottom of that page from last August. There is a paper petition circulating around town. I have just one of my pages filled up, which I'd like to introduce into the minutes. And, and then I just leave that back. So I'm working on that. And there's also Facebook under my name, Judy Worley, W-H-E-R-L-E-Y. You can check online at, I have a change.org petition regarding this. And, my problem with it is that I would like to see a cost-benefit analysis information for people who's going, all of us who are going to be paying this new tax. What were the other options for doing this besides reaching in my pocket? And I don't see that 545 is where it's going to stop, I guess. So, you can say 545 and you think $65 a year is a great deal, but you're not giving us any guarantees that it won't be doubled that it won't go up next year. So that would be my issue with that. And then the fee part of it, the definition of a fee, the sum charged for service.
Mrs. Worley, could you?
Am I done? Okay. That, we don't have any sewer or storm drain on our street.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the service, I don't get a service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to the clerk's report.
No report tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Village trustees report. We'll start on the right with trustee Taglia.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. President, Pro Tem. Okay, I have a few things tonight. The Villa Park Junior Women's Club is offering $1,500 scholarships, and they're looking for applicants. Okay, you must be a female high school student graduating in the spring of 2014 and a full-time resident of Villa Park. Other requirements apply, so please see the Villa Park Junior Women's Club website for details. Okay, they'll be accepting applications from March 1st to April 30th. Okay, so it's coming up. All right, so you can apply online. The website is www.vpjwc.org/scholarship. Okay, and the scholarship is not based on financial need. If there's any questions, you can contact Jen Critchbaum at 630-460-2502. Okay. I think we all received an email today about traffic problems by Ardmore School. I just wanted to mention that we did receive the email. I know it's something that the police and the Traffic and Safety Commission has been working on. This mentions a traffic study. It seems like there's a need for money to do a traffic study down there. I don't know what a traffic study entails, but I'm going to study up on it. Maybe I could go down there and do it myself, save the village some money. I think it's mostly counting cars and seeing who stops and things like that. If they're speeding, I don't know. I'll look it up, but I just want to let our residents know that we do receive your emails and we do address them as we can. Also, I just wanted to make mention of Coffee with the Board. I met a new resident, or a fairly new resident, Mr. Calvert. We talked about concerns about the streets on South Michigan Avenue. The village residents brought forward concerns about cold patching and things like that. They asked what the methods were, and I wondered if our Public Works Director could kind of just give us a real quick once-over on how they address filling potholes and things like that. Because it seemed like people had a lot of questions. How should it be done?
Well, it depends on the time of year.
Okay.
Obviously, during the winter, hot mix is not available, so we either use our hot box or we use a cold mix. The newer cold mixes are considered permanent, but again, it depends on moisture content and temperature, how permanent they are. During the other times of year, the proper procedure is to basically square off the hole, remove the material, and put back a full depth patch of asphalt.
Okay, so that's the preferred method. Thank you for that, Venus. Also, a resident brought forward concerns about problems with drainage culverts, and if they're in the parkway, if that is the village's responsibility to maintain culverts that have failed or need repair. Is that something that me as a homeowner, I have to take care of that myself, or is that something the village provides a service with to help? Maybe you could answer that one for me too, Venus?
Well, as was discussed during the presentations on the stormwater management program, right now the village does not have funding for a ditch or culvert replacement program. That's not to say that we can't do a handful on a case-by-case basis, but we do not have an established program, and we do not have funding to establish a program at this time.
Okay, fair enough. Also, one last question, and I promised I would bring these forward, and this is the last one. I had a question. Someone at Coffee with the Board told me there is an additional 59-cent charge on our water bill, and I wasn't aware of that. I don't know, but maybe, Mr. Manager, if you can make a note and check that for us, please.
Go ahead.
The question specifically is, there's an additional 59-cent charge on the water bill, and the question is, what percentage of that fee increase goes to the village? I believe that's the question.
Maybe you and the manager can get together on that.
And then on this, I just want to thank Boy Scout Troop 242 for an awesome spaghetti dinner Saturday night. You guys did a great job making us proud. Thank you. That's it.
Trustee Case.
Nothing?
Okay, I have nothing. Trustee Ayalo?
Nothing, thank you.
Trustee Wagner?
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I just want to say kudos to the library and the senior commission. I think it was the first event for the centennial, and our very own Hosanna was master of ceremonies with the old-time radio players. Was that the name? Very enjoyable program. They did scripts from Little Orphan Annie, and it's kind of before my time, but it was very enjoyable to hear that at the library annex. I also want to let folks know that another program that the library is sponsoring with the Environmental Concerns Commission will be on, let's see here, on April 21st at 7 p.m. at the library, and a gentleman named Andrew Van Gorp will be talking about sustainability in DuPage County. And sustainability is kind of it's a well-used phrase, but it means that you're very conscious of the resources you use, and you make sure that they're renewable, et cetera. So for anyone who's interested in learning about sustainability, go to that program. It's going to be a good one. And also want to mention that the Village Pride Commission will be sponsoring the Prairie Path Cleanup on Saturday, April 26th, from 9 a.m. to noon. Starts at the museum on Ville Avenue. So hope everyone will come out and participate in the Prairie Path Cleanup. And of course, last Sunday was Palm Sunday. Today is the first day of Passover. So I just want to wish everyone a happy and prayerful Easter and Passover. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Davis.
Just one tonight. The Pride Commissioner, or the Pride Commission, is looking for new members and junior members. Junior members are high school age children. If you would like to get involved with that commission, go to invillapark.com. There's an application on the site somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. You fill it out and send it in, and we go from there. But we are looking for, I think it's 2 junior commissioners and 3 regular commissioners. And that's all.
You never know.
One more thing. The park and...
I didn't recognize him.
I just want to mention that...
Yes, Trustee.
Am I recognized?
Yes, I recognize you.
Okay. The Park and Rec Advisory Commission is also looking for new commissioners, and the Environmental Concerns Commission is also looking for some commissioners as well. So if you're looking to serve the community in those areas, you'll definitely find a home, I'm sure.
Okay. Thank you. Manager's report.
Thank you, Ron. I believe I just have a couple items. Ville Park Lions Club has their 12th annual pasta dinner on Thursday, April 24th at the Willowbrook High School. And it's before the Willowbrook High School's play God of Carnage. So that's Thursday, April 24th at 7 p.m. At least that's the play. The adults are $7 for the food, seniors are $6, children's ages from 5 to 12, $5. Children under 5 are free, and it's all you can eat. If you have any questions, please contact Lion Larry at 630-782-0725. Just wanted to bring this up again, Your Honor and Board, about Centennial Street banner sponsorships. If folks are interested in purchasing a banner, if you'd like a 24 by 48, they're $70. If you'd like an 18 by 36, they're $40. So go ahead and please contact Village Hall, and we can give you the form to fill out. If you'd like to sponsor an event for the upcoming celebration of 100 years, sponsors will be getting the posters. It's very pretty, and your name will be used throughout the marketing materials. And if you'd like to sponsor, here's some items that you could sponsor: fireworks, a foot race, dinner dance, the band, some vendors, Healthy Villa Park, adopt a tree, and street banners. So please, if you're interested, contact Village Hall. Thank you.
Attorney report.
No report.
Okay, item number 15, the bill listing. If there's no questions, we'll just move on to item number 16. Any questions? No. Okay, item number 16, consider executive session. A, 5 ILCS 120/2 C1, personnel matters and collective bargaining. B, 5 ILCS 120/2 C5, purchase or lease of property. C, 5 ILCS 120/2 C11, pending litigation. D, 5 ILCS 120/2 C21, discussion of closed session minutes. E, 5 ILCS 120/2 C28, meeting between internal and external auditors and Government Audit Committee, Finance Committee, and their representatives. Can I make a motion for executive session? Trustee Allo?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Case, seconds. Roll call vote.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
No.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes?
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
And then we'll be going into executive session, and we will be coming back for a couple votes after executive session. What time that'll be, I have no idea. Thank you.
Depends on how many cigarettes I have outside.
Yeah, we'll be in executive session in 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Suck it down fast.
I got back.